Now that we are in the age where the Coalition brought UE3 to PlayStation 5, would you like Arkham Knight Enhanced for current gen? I bet Rocksteady could use the money after that Suicide Squad game. John, yeah, Arkham Knight. Come on now. Arkham Knight is deserving of a remaster. The question is what you do with it.
I think given how it runs on PCs, I don't know, 120 FPS on consoles, maybe doable. The CPU, I don't know. Either way, just having like a really nice, sharp, smooth running version of that on consoles coming back, I think would be really awesome.
You think it's the case, though, that, because it's definitely a game of its day, right, in terms of how it used Unreal Engine 3. It's kind of like peak Unreal Engine 3, right?
It is, and it still looks good, I think.
But the temptation is going to be that they're like port it to Unreal Engine 5 or something. Do you think that would be a bad move?
Yeah. They already tried to do that before with Return to Arkham.
Yes,
when they did the UE4, and it was horrible.
Great.
No, I think I think they should look at it. No, they're not doing it, but if they were, look at what they did with Gears Ultimate as the model, where they made changes to it to allow things like modern like motion vectors, which opens the door towards stuff like DLSS and modern temporal solutions. And yes, I know some people don't like those, but I feel like in my Gears video, it really showed very clearly how much of a benefit that stuff really is. The sheer volume of shimmering and noise you got from older style solutions, it's not great.
Yeah.
It's very, very noisy, actually. So cleaning that up would go a long way with a game like Arkham Knight due to its like heavy reliance on like high contrast, quote unquote materials, not really materials, but you know what I mean. That has a lot of shimmer. So just, but the problem is like from a WB perspective, how does this tie into their marketing beat? Where does this fit? And I just don't really see any room for it because they don't seem to be the kind of company that just releases stuff because it would be cool. They've got to find the how does this make us long-term money and tie into our future strategy?
Mm-hmm.
Which is not
fit in the multiverse.
Which, by the way, not always a bad business choice, but with the games and the creative media, sometimes it is. Doesn't always work. And I think WB has found this out the hard way.
It went hilariously and rather sadly wrong, but they did bring Arkham Knight to the Switch. So, maybe there is some sort of mileage in bringing it to the current generation consoles. I think from my perspective, it is obviously a handsome game. Anti-aliasing, though, is a clear weakness.
Underrated, too. People were harsh on it. I think it's a great game.
Yeah. Alex, thoughts?
Yeah, the thing is, in terms of things I would add to it, the game technically doesn't have any shadows from its moon. I would love to see some shadows from that moon. That's really about it.
Physics?
I think it's otherwise pretty good. Well, yeah, making that cross some sort of portable version of physics technically doable now. I think with that's a 64-bit physics title.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't know if they actually open sourced that one. I know they did the 32-bit one at least. Yeah, I would love to see that cross-ported to some generic compute thing that works everywhere so everyone could see just how cool it was. Back then, I memed on the game too because it was awful at launch. But when it actually started with enough hardware and with, the unlocked frame rate at 60, with all the physics effects working, it does look really cool still, even on PC. So that's what I would love other people to experience. So there's just a lot of people memed on physics, but after the fact, I think people really liked it. They just, after when the vendor wars were over, everyone was like, actually, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The vendor wars.
I think it's worth revisiting, right? Plain and simple, it's a great game. It can stand some improvement. Clearly, there were some issues in terms of memory management that have only been overcome simply because PCs have become a whole lot more powerful. I do think there is a lot to be said about improving image quality on it. I don't think they should go too far, though. I'm kind of reminded of something like Crysis 3 Remastered, where it was effectively modernized. They added some ray tracing, which wasn't hugely impactful, but it was there. They added DLSS, that sort of stuff. I don't think it needs a sort of Oblivion remastered style effort.
No, not nearly as much as that. My goodness.
I also want to tip my hat to the original PS4 version of this game because I felt like they perfectly targeted that console and delivered their vision perfectly. I said perfect too many times, but that's because it is. 30 FPS, yes, but this was a time coming from the generation where 30 FPS was like a pipe dream most of the time. So they delivered a completely stable 30 FPS with like no real issues at all, and it was native 1080p, which was the output of the console, and it just looked incredible, and it worked perfectly out of the gate, right off the disc. It was a really polished release on PS4, which I guess was the main version at the time.